Hi, everybody. Welcome back to the Weather Forecast Center. This is John, here to give you the latest on current conditions out there right now and the uh, forecast for the next week. Currently, we have severe thunderstorm watches here in the front range of the Rockies, Colorado, eastern Colorado into western Nebraska, far southeastern Wyoming, western South Dakota, um, northeastern Wyoming, much of southeastern Montana, and far western uh, North Dakota. And we also have a severe thunderstorm watch here, primarily for the state of Montana and a couple counties in Idaho. There is currently rain and showers here in the northwestern part of Maine along the stationary boundary. Showers and thunderstorms have erupted this afternoon. Um, Also, down in Florida, some showers and thunderstorms, and some showers entering uh, Washington State. That is what is going on currently right now. We will go over the SPC Outlooks. Um, they re- keep the slight risk of severe weather here in this tiny narrow corridor from Montana down into Colorado, and for this area in northwestern Montana. Um, Take a look at the parameters here. No threat of tornadoes. Um, 15% chance of wind exceeding 60 miles an hour, primarily in Montana and far western North Dakota, and here in northwestern Montana. And the oh, there is a marginal risk that's over here in the Mid Atlantic and parts of the Northeast. Now, they also have a 5% chance of wind exceeding 60 miles an hour. Got to mention that. And for hail, there is a 15% chance of hail exceeding 1 inch in diameter, primarily in this corridor here from Montana down into Colorado, with a mm, with a 5% covering the rest of the marginal risk area. And there's also a 5% risk of hail exceeding 1 inch in diameter here, primarily in Montana. Uh, for tomorrow, there is just a marginal risk of severe weather here in the northern Rockies, back into the northern plains, much of Montana, um, southwestern South Dakota, and west central Nebraska. Let's. What is that drone off of? No tornado. Tornado threat is low for tomorrow. There is a 5% chance of winds exceeding 60 miles an hour in the marginal risk area. And for hail, 5% chance of hail exceeding 1 inch in diameter here in the marginal risk area as well. For, let's see, tomorrow, that's for Wednesday, there is a slight risk of severe weather here in eastern Montana and western North Dakota. And that will be for Wednesday. So, give you a little background of what happened yesterday and what's going to come forward for this week. We had a cold front that came through the northeast, the southeast yesterday. That is pushing a cold front that is slowly moving offshore in North Carolina, has gone offshore in South Carolina, and some residual moisture is left here that's causing showers and thunderstorms here. There was some major flooding yesterday in Connecticut, I believe in 2 towns. I don't know the towns off the top of my head, but there was some major flooding yesterday here in this region here. And as this front blasted through the Carolinas last night, caused some severe thunderstorm warnings and caused some wind gusts up to around 60 miles an hour as they came through last night. So right now there is still a secondary cold front that is heading to the east as we speak. That's why the showers and thunderstorms do continue here in the mid-Atlantic states this afternoon. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you temperatures for the next few days. We're going to shift this to the northeast. So these were the high temperatures for today. 85 in Philadelphia, 81 in Hartford, 70s up in Maine, much of the Northeast, and a cooler pockets of 60s here in western New York State due to cloud cover. These are running below average for this time of year. Tonight's lows went decides. Let's try that again. Sorry about that. Apparently I was offline from my Wi-Fi. So this is tonight's lows, mainly 50s in a lot of the Northeast and into the Mid-Atlantic. 62 for the overnight low in Philadelphia. We have some low 40s here in the Adirondacks, here in the Finger Lakes region, mid to upper 40s for overnight lows. 55 in Pittsburgh, 55 in Detroit, Delaware being 60s, Basically, the coastal areas will be in the 60s. Um, Baltimore will be 64 for the overnight low, with 50s to its north and east, and 64 in Salisbury, Maryland. Highs on Tuesday will be upper 50s for Maine, and in the Adirondacks, and a couple places here in western New York State, primarily 60s for a lot of the Northeast, 70s further south, 75 for Philadelphia tomorrow, 72 for Hartford, Connecticut, and then 80s farther south, 80 for Richmond, Virginia tomorrow, 71 in Pittsburgh tomorrow. Um, Highs around 70 in Detroit. So this secondary cold front is going to knock the temperatures down to about 10 degrees below average for tomorrow. Tomorrow night, lows will be 40s and 50s widespread. Tomorrow, 56 in Philadelphia tomorrow night, 56 in around New York City, 40s in the Appalachians, in the Finger Lakes region, into the Catskills and the Adirondacks. The Green White Mountains will be in the 40s. 52 for the overnight low in Worcester, Massachusetts. 54 in Hartford, Connecticut. So those will be your lows for Wednesday morning. Wednesday's highs will be primarily 50s and 60s in the interior Northeast, 70s along the coast, 74 for Philadelphia on Wednesday, 75 in Millville, New Jersey, um, 77 near DC, 77 in Baltimore, and 79 in Richmond. Wednesday night lows will continue to be in the 40s in the Adirondacks, in the Catskills and the Finger Lakes region. Also, the Green White Mountains will be in the 40s. And up here in northern Maine, 50s widespread again. 56 for the overnight low in Philadelphia. 60 in New York City. And 60 in Baltimore, and 55 in Richmond, Virginia. Highs on Thursday, primarily 60s and 70s, widespread. 77 Philadelphia on Thursday, 64 in the Adirondacks, 66 in the Finger Lakes region, low 70s in the Catskills. Poconos will see middle 70s, 82 in Richmond as the atmosphere starts to warm up again. 82 in Baltimore, Maryland, and then Friday night or Friday morning, Thursday night, again 50, a few 40s, primarily 50s widespread. Philadelphia will have a low of 60. Baltimore, low of 62. Primarily 50s north and west of the cities. Adirondacks will still fall into the upper 40s. The upper 40s here around the Finger Lakes region, Catskills, splotches of 40s, but rising into the lows will be rising into the low 50s in the Catskills and 58 in Richmond. And then at this point, the temperatures will be rebounding back to normal on Friday. 83 for Philadelphia, 80 for um, Hartford, Connecticut, 84 for Richmond, um, 83 for Pittsburgh, and 81 for Detroit. 70s in the interior Northeast, and 80s start to creep up the coast. I will go to the Mid Atlantic and Southeast now, starting with today. Um, 87 in Myrtle Beach, 90 out in Columbia, 90 in Wellington. So 80s and 90s in the Carolinas down into Georgia. Tonight's lows, not going to be as chilly as your northern counterparts, but 62 in Richmond, still 71 in Myrtle Beach, 70 in Wilmington, but you move away from um, the beach, it'll be in the 60s, in the upper 60s for lows tonight. Um, Highs tomorrow will be 83 for Myrtle Beach, 86 for Wellington, 81 for Richmond, 80 for Greensboro, North Carolina, 83 for Charlotte, 86 for Columbia. Um, tomorrow night lows still hanging on the 70 down Myrtle Beach, 67 in Wilmington, 57 in Richmond, so and 61 in Charlotte, 60 in Greensboro, North Carolina, 65 in Columbia, South Carolina. So the true chilly air will not make it into the Carolinas this time around, but the nighttime lows will be primarily in the mid to upper 60s. Daytime highs on Wednesday, 82 for Myrtle Beach, 85 for Wilmington, North Carolina, 79 for Greensboro, 82 for Charlotte, 86 for um, basically if you draw a line from, we'll say, from Greensboro north, it'll be in the 70s. Anything south of that will be low 80s. Wednesday night lows. Basically, now the 50s are starting to show up down, I would say, from a line from, we'll say, Asheville straight to the east and north of there, being the 50s, 60s to the south of there, upper 60s to around 70 near the beach. Highs for Thursday, still low 80s, low to mid 80s for much of the Carolinas and Virginia. 83 for Charlotte, 80 for Greensboro, 83 for Wilmington, 82 for Myrtle Beach, 80, looks like 80 for Charleston. I don't know if that's going to be right, and that might be like 88. But primarily 80s in the Carolinas. Thursday night lows. Now we're starting to get the 60s starting to creep back north, but we still got 57 in Asheville. Um, Basically, in this line here from, I would say, western North Carolina to the north, primarily 50s, 60s south of there, 70s along 70s along the coast, and then high temperatures for Friday. They start to rebound again. Now it's only showing 80 for Myrtle Beach, 83 for Wilmington, 84 for Columbia. But the heat is lurking to the west, and this will come in for the weekend. So we will have pretty much the balance of this week will be below average. 80s will be widespread on Friday. So that is the look of the temperatures for the Mid-Atlantic, Northeast, and parts of the Southeast for this week, for this first front to come through. That is all I have for this evening. I hope everyone has a wonderful Monday night, and I will talk to you again soon.